अरे सुना क्या? क्या?
अरे सुना नहीं क्या? अरे क्या भाई?
अरे कार्निवल आ रहा है।
कैसा करना है?
कैसा नहीं, पूछो क्या क्या?
बहुत कुछ. Hottest discount on our courses, live learning, job opportunity. A perfect way to live in a pure summertime.
अरे इतना सारा?
जी हाँ, इतना सारा. See you at Geeks in Carnival.
अरे कहाँ?
डिस्काउंट लेने.
Hi everyone. Good evening. How are you all? Just give me a thumbs up in the chat if I'm perfectly audible. Just send a thumbs up in the chat to make to just there I can make sure that I'm perfectly audible to you all. Great, thanks guys. So I'm Dhwani from GeeksforGeeks and I will be your host for today's session. Let's just wait for 10 more seconds so that other people can also join. Till the time, I'm sure you all have seen the tag for this webinar, and you can tell us about what's your interest in open source, what caused you to choose an inclination in open source, and what is the basic idea you have about the GSOC program by Google. So I welcome you all to yet another session of Geeks Summer Carnival 2022. For those of you joining us for the first time, Geeks Summer Carnival 2022 is a 7-day long summer carnival fiesta where you can avail amazing discounts on courses and services from GFG. Today we will be talking about two very interesting topics. First is open source and second is GSOC. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome our guest for today, Mr. Ashutosh Saxena. Hi Ashutosh.
Hey Dhwani, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks for asking. So, what's going on?
Actually, I was just, really excited about, I've heard so much about GSOC, but, a lot of people have a very limited information about it. So let's
Yeah.
just hope that in today's session, we can get the most out of Ashutosh. I'll just give a brief introduction of him and then we can get on with it. So Ashutosh is an AWS enthusiast and a senior DevOps engineer. He has worked with many students and has guided and mentored them. So we're really happy to have you here, Ashutosh. Kindly introduce yourself, like a brief introduction of yourself.
Sure. Already you've given the brief introduction, but let's do it again. So, hey everyone, my name is Ashutosh Saxena, and I am a AWS and Google Cloud enthusiast. I am work with several DevOps tools available in the market with the hands-on experience, and have gained multiple global certifications for the Red Hat and the AWS GCP. And I love to teach students. I love whatever the knowledge which I have. I just love to share with everyone, right? So that's the whole scenario, and I think this will be fine, right, Dhani?
Yeah, that sounds great. So before
Yeah.
we get into the session, you mentioned a lot of certifications that you've gone through. Can you tell the audience some brief steps as to, how to approach these exams? What are the exams that a person should take to become a DevOps certified engineer?
Yeah. So what do we need to do is the first thing is which you need to build up is interest, right? So let's say if you love the concepts of Linux, right? So at that time, what you can do is you can just go for a Red Hat certification, which is the basic one. It's RHCSA. And after that, if you need to do some kind of advanced automation kind of in the Linux or the advanced concepts or deployment of the things, you can go for RSC. If you're a cloud enthusiast, right? So you can go for AWS certifications, GCP certifications, Azure certifications. In the end, DevOps thing is kind of a big umbrella, right? So different DevOps certifications are available in the market, like for the AWS it is, for the GCP and the Azure even, right? So the very first thing is you just need to build up the things, the basic things, and after that you can go for the certifications. And the certifications is just a validation, right? So let's say if you're given the exam for the Terraform, HashiCorp certified Terraform associate, the thing is it will just validate the skill, right? That you know Terraform. If you have given the exam for AWS Solution Architect Associate, that means you know at least the basic level of AWS. So that's the thing which just validates your skills in the market, right? So that's why people go for the certifications. And even I personally prefer to go for the certification to just get globally recognized for the skills which I gained, or that's the whole concept to go for the certifications, right?
Right. So I have a lot of friends who are working in DevOps, and there's a misconception that getting these certifications is quite hard. So could you just guide us through a basic journey of what, like what it takes to become familiar with the concepts and what it takes to clear these examinations?
The very first thing is the hands-on experience is a must thing, right? So most of the time what happens is, let's say a student has just buy the course online. I'm just not targeting any kind of online platform, but let's say a student has just buy the course from using an online tutorial, right? So they are just reading that and studying that course and just watching the videos, and whatever the project the instructor is just helping them to make. So they are just making this project, and let's say they are just copying that project in their resume, let's say. But the students are not making their own custom projects. They don't know the loopholes in the Jenkins or the Terraform or CloudFormation or anything. But because they haven't created their own project, the very first thing I just want to let the people know who are watching this video right now is just to make your own custom project. Research by yourself, read the documentation. Let's say from whoever you are learning, let's say Kubernetes, that person only taught you what actually the meaning of volumes, right? But on the other hand, if I ask you, I need to configure a config map, you don't know that because you haven't seen that thing in a video, right? So how will you explain someone the config map? For that thing, you need to read the documentation, implement your own custom projects, and that's how you need to just go on this road, right?
Right. So I have personally myself worked with GCP, and it's a very vast platform, right? But surely it's a paid one. So are there any alternatives that do not charge money for, like someone who wants to get started with cloud?
Let's say they don't want to just spend the money, right? So obviously all of the cloud providers like AWS, GCP, Azure just have a limit of a free tier thing, right? So they can, on that respective cloud, if you're talking about GCP, there's a something free limit, right? Let's say you can use the compute engine till a threshold. Obviously, you cannot use GK in the free tier, right? It will be a costly service. But just to understand the concepts and just to feel the cloud, right? So you can go with that respective threshold. On the other hand, right? So if you, let's say, there's another offering which is offered by Google only, that is known as Quick Labs. So that thing will obviously help you to gain much more hands-on experience in just kind of a sandbox type of environment. They'll just create the environment for you, and you need to perform some of the given task which is written in front of the screen, right? Let's say you need to create a GK cluster, deploy some application or whatever, right? So Quick Labs is another thing, and the free threshold which is given by any other cloud like AWS and GCP, you can always use that, right? But under the limits.
That sounds actually great. I had forgotten about the Quick Labs thing. I have actually worked on Quick Labs. So let's just now dive into the actual session that was meant to be. Can you tell us something about Google Summer of Code? Like, what's the whole process? What the inspiration of the event is?
Yeah. So before directly jumping towards the GSOC, right? Let's take the road towards another end. If you love open source, right? So what actually open source is? Let's say I have given you some of the data, and I will just say you need to optimize this data, and you can do whatever you want, but you don't need to change this master data which I am giving you, right? So you can add your add-ons. So this is a very simple and straightforward example of open search. I'm just giving you a code base, right? And with that code base, right, so you can add your own functionalities or own features. Let's say you have added the people can download something from your website or whatever your code is, right? So this is just a contribution which you are giving. So this is the concept for the open search and how you should contribute. This thing is connected with GSOC. GSOC stands for Google Summer of Code, which is a global and the online program which is focused mainly towards open source and the people who are open source enthusiasts and the coding enthusiasts, right? So this thing will surely help them to build their coding skills as well as it will surely help to build up your great career in the software development industry, right? So if you're preparing for SD or something, it will give the great impact on the interviewer that I was being in the GSOC, right? So actually this program began in 2005, and right now it is expanding. Till 2021 it was just focused till the universities part only. Let's say some of the universities they are targeting, or the students are going in their program. But in 2022 what they have just changed some of the rules, right? So the thing is, you just need to be 18 years old and boom, right? So you can, if you have the coding enthusiasm thing, right, and you just have open source knowledge, or if you need to contribute, you can go into GSOC. If you're 18 years old, obviously different criteria is also available. But the thing over here is, in 2022 they've just made some kind of changes, right? So if you're 18 years old, that means you are good to go. But if that obviously needs coding experience, right? So obviously this thing is surely help the developers which are just practicing day and night coding, and they are just making the custom applications or contributing towards major projects like Mozilla Firefox, or different open source projects are available. This GSOC thing will surely help out anyone who are just good at coding, good at contribution, and like such of the scenarios, right? So that's how GSOC will help you to develop their skills, and obviously your a bit contribution will help any bigger community to just get a big feature at their end, right? So that's the thing. And maybe it will obviously help you out. Let's say if I say that I have made some contribution in Mozilla Firefox, this is a big thing for me, right? I'm just a normal guy, and I am just contributing something to Firefox thing, right? So that will give the impact. So that's the cycle.
Yeah, I'm sure this all gives a lot of basic idea as to what GSOC really is about. We will actually get into the details with the series of questions that I already have for you. So there is a general question that a lot of people usually ask open source developers, like what are your favorite open source projects, and how have they been beneficial to you?
Okay, so there are n number of projects available. I mean, if you can go or Google search for open source projects, I mean, there's no such end, right? So I just took one example a couple of minutes ago, Mozilla, right? And Firefox development tools. And if you are a machine learning enthusiast, right? So obviously you know the scikit-learn library, which will help you out to train a model in such a way according to your respective use case, right? So that library is also open source. If you're good at Python programming or machine learning, as I said, so obviously you can contribute in the scikit-learn library, right? So that is completely open source. You just need to submit a pull request over there, and you just need to copy their code at your end, deploy the changes or whatever you are trying to achieve, right? So you can again push, and if they want, they can merge into the master branch or whatever. But the very first thing is, n number of projects are available. Some of the examples are scikit-learn, Firefox development tools, PyTorch library, and Pandas is the Python library which is used in n number of things, right? You just need to import the Pandas and the matplotlib thing for some kind of data analysis in Python, right? So that's the thing. But for a beginner, it is just kind of overwhelming, right? So how we should contribute in such a big libraries, right? Like scikit-learn, like Pandas. What I would suggest for a beginner, right? Just Google which of the respective open source projects are available for beginners. You can Google that, and you can find n number of things, right? So try the things at your end. As I said, make your custom projects. Again, I'm just saying, try the things at your end so that you can. It doesn't matter. They will just merge your code into their code. But at least the thing is, you tried. The thing is, you just need to try and just need to go step by step, right? So as I said, n number of projects are available. Major things are these, like Firefox and Pandas, or these available type of libraries, right? So I think that's the answer which you are looking for, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's never, it doesn't hurt to try. I mean,
Yeah.
you can always try. What's the worst that can happen, right? So
That's it.
the next question is, can you list few of the top open source softwares that beginners can contribute to?
Again the same answer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because this similar question is connecting the answer towards the previous answer which I have given, right? So like the Python, PyTorch libraries and the pandas and everything. But again, the thing over here is try not to stop. Okay, if let's say if you got the mail that your code is not merged into the master branch or any feature branch or whatever they have, right? So I would suggest whoever watching this video, please try not to think that ki who I need. Just think that I'll just again try my best, right? These libraries are huge, and there's no as such end. Millions of people are contributing second by second on these libraries, but due to any concern, if your code is not merged, so don't think that I'm just a useless person or something, right? Please try not to quit. Just go, and let's say if you got the mail someday, right, that let's say, hey Ashutosh, your code is contributed to the Mozilla Firefox, but that thing will just buzz off the all the failures which are happen at the back end with this, right? So that's only the thing, right? I think this is a similar question for the previous one, that's why I'm just extending this, right?
Yes, someone in the audience is asking how to find these companies when you're working via GSOC, like how to, like get a hold of, like how to get started with Mozilla when you're participating in GSOC.
I think the code is available on the web, right? For the GitHub.
Okay.
You can try this thing at your end and try to use a feature, right? But I'm not just saying go directly with the Mozilla thing. Mozilla is a tiger kind of thing. Obviously, this is a big wow. Mozilla is, man. I don't have any words to say for the Mozilla thing, but that's why I'm just saying go for small projects. Just Google how to contribute in the open source for beginners, or contribution of open source for the beginners. You will find n number of results over there in which you can contribute even, right? So let's say some feature in Jenkins is missing, let's say. If you are good at coding, or if you can make the logic, you can just pull that code at your end, try the things at your end, and just give them, right? So let's say, I'm not saying that Jenkins is a bad thing, but it's a very heart of DevOps. But let's say some feature is missing in that. Let's say you are not able to search for any kind of a Java library in case of Jenkins, let's say, or a plugin. So what you can do is you can add that respective feature on how to search, right? You can use any kind of platform like Elasticsearch or whatever. But the thing over here is you're just contributing, right? So that's what I'm saying. Try to go with small things first. Try not to jump like on the platform which is far away if you're a beginner, right? So you can Google the things. Resources are available. Even to be really very frank, what I have done as my first contribution, right? It is a kind of a silly, but this will make the confidence for the audience, right? So there was a GitHub repository, and when I was, I think, in the 12th standard, so there was a GitHub repository available, and that GitHub repository was something like you just need to pull that repository and add your name that Ashutosh is made the contribution. Just push that back. So that was my first contribution, for the open source thing, because that was a completely open thing, and that was just for the beginners thing. And I was a beginner. That was my first contribution, but that was a contribution, man. So start step by step. So that's why I'm just saying like this.
It doesn't matter where you start, as long as you start. I mean, It's all uphill from there.
That's why I said, because people are asking that how to go for Firefox. Man, don't jump for Firefox. Try to do with the staircase part, right? So that's how you can go.
Right. So the next question is that for a beginner, the large code bases can be very overwhelming. So what is your suggestion for someone who is just starting to work on open source?
Obviously, the code bases, obviously the code is not available in a single file. Different modules are available, and for any X feature, different modules available. For another feature, different code is available. So that's the thing. That's how the code is distributed across the, let's say, different machines or containers or whatever. But the thing is, if you are just a beginner and if you think that how should I understand this vast monster thing, right? So the thing over here is, again, start small, but the concept should be clear. Let's say if I ask you what is the concept of constructors in C++, right? So obviously this is a very basic concept of C++. If you don't know that thing, how should you use that concept in the large code bases, right? So let's say, let's count the oops example or the friend function things in case of C++, but those things are very basic, right? And you need to know these things to go at the upper level, right? If you create the base, right? Let's say if you created the base for any kind of programming language or any kind of technology or whatever, you don't need any additional support for that. If you have the strong base now, you can achieve anything. You can, whatever you can think of, right? Let's connect this thing with another example. Let's say I am a DevOps guy, right? So no one taught me Kubernetes, right? So no one taught me, Ashutosh, just this thing is volume, this thing is config map, this thing is PVC, whatever. I just read the documentation. I just created my own custom projects. That's how I learned the things by myself, right? So I have that at least basic knowledge. Obviously, no one knows the whole Kubernetes. Okay, I'm not saying I'm just God, the god of Kubernetes or whatever. But the thing over here is, right, the base is clear now, so I can do whatever things I want, right? Obviously, I don't know the whole concepts. I am not very good at Kubernetes security. I just go for the documentation that this is the concept and I'll just implement it. But if you don't know the base, right, so how you will going to deploy the things, right? If you don't know deployment, if you don't know services, if you don't know volumes, how should you go with the security part? So basic is strong, you can achieve anything, right? So that's the very clear thing which you need to keep in mind, right? Before directly jumping towards the major task. Create your own custom applications always, right? Understanding the big code base is not an easy task. Yeah, the developers outside sitting there, they don't know the whole code base, man. So that's the thing. They just know their own part which they have made. Ashutosh just deployed a constructor in a C++ code. That person only knows the constructor part, man. He don't know how polymorphism is working in a different code base, right? But the thing over here is the concept should be clear, the very first thing, and hands-on experience is required in any kind of programming language. Try to create your own custom things. The very basic thing with the C++ thing is library management system, which every college do that, right? But obviously, in case of colleges, you know what happens, right? So obviously, not every student make that project. But if you're really focused on the thing, right? If you want to, just do it like anything, you need to practice, right? The basic thing is required at every level.
Knowledge is very important. I mean, but whichever field you're into, it does not matter if it's computer science or not. Even if you don't have the rudimentary knowledge, you cannot do anything. So I guess, yeah, that's quite important. So now we're moving on to the GSOC part of questions. So why should organizations participate in GSOC?
Why? The thing over here is, if you need to build the skills, that's why. That's a very straight answer. You want skills? Go for GSOC. But GSOC is just a way, a medium to make the skills. But what GSOC can give you now, I don't believe anyone can, help you out to build those skills. The thing over here is a developer who is just practicing day and night the coding skills or trying to solve n number of problems on, let's say, Lead Code or the HackerRank, HackerEarth, or any other platforms available. But the real implementation to the real softwares available in the market, at that point you will think like a real developer. You're not just deploying a linked list where you are just connecting the two nodes. So this is just a theoretical concept. Obviously, you know that. All right, no one is going to ask you there that rotate this array by n numbers, right? So this is the very the thing which you can by which you can create crack any interviews, or you can just make the projects even. But if you want the feel of that real developers thing, right? So how you should contribute, how you should apply these concepts in the real world, right? So that's where GSOC, that's why the organizations connect with the GSOC thing, and that this is a very major example, right? So why should organization should choose GSOC? I think this is a very straightforward answer. I cannot expand it anymore, but this is the only real idea which should be followed, right?
Right. So, how should one prepare their proposal for GSOC?
Okay. This thing is tricky, and the preparation thing is try to be consistent, right? And if I've seen n number of peoples out there that, okay, I will just do coding from tomorrow, okay? But let's say you have to solve 2 questions today, let's say, and but tomorrow on the upcoming day you think that today's Sunday, just rest up. But that rest will cost you big thing. It will cost you it will give you some hours of relaxation, but it will just take you much more thing, right? This is just a relaxation which is 1%. 99% is a waste. But the thing over here is try to be consistent. This is the preparation which I would suggest you to do if you are preparing for the GSOC, because GSOC thing is not easy to go inside, right? Obviously this is Google, Google thing is which is conducted by Google, and if you need to reach to that platform where real softwares are built, or softwares are contributed, right? So that's at to reach at that level, you need to prepare accordingly. And that's the only point which right now I'm just clicking in my mind, right? So if you need to add some other points, Dhwani, you can also add.
No, I guess that sounds about right. I mean, you have to be consistent if you're working on something. Like relaxation is fine, but slacking off, procrastination is not the right thing to do. So there is this one question, that is the basic knowledge of Git and GitHub enough for participating in GSOC?
Basic? How much basic? You know how to do the pull request, you know how to push, enough, right? But there is no as such thing that you need to know. Obviously you know the base, you need to know the basic merging and all those things which are basic thing, but at least till the level that you can handle those complicated things of GitHub. Let's say if you are facing some issues in the merging, right? Let's say if you're not contributing to any kind of open source, you have created your own custom project and you have pushed your code into your own custom repository, right? Let's say there is one version deployed on the GitHub. Let's say the value of there's a variable, right, in the code. Let's say Ashutosh _1. This is just a very ridiculous variable name. But let's think of, right, that there's a one variable with the value 5. But you are just creating another version of your code. You are just adding some of the feature, right? The value of Ashutosh _1 is the variable is 5. But obviously this is not a variable, it's a constant. But you are just in that new code base, you are giving another value of Ashutosh _1. Obviously it will conflict, right? So how the GitHub will know if I need to take 5 or I need to take another value which is coming from? So troubleshooting thing, you need to know different type of tools are available in the market, right? Let's say P4 merge or MAD or different type of solutions are available. You can even go with the GUI, right? There's one GUI which will come up and you need to check if you need to use a left code or the right code, right? So that means it will be a partition. That means the old code or the new code, which one you need to choose. This is a very basic example which I'm giving, but you need at least a basic level of understanding, like you can handle such a scenarios where other people are struggling, right? The very frustrating thing with GitHub and Git is merging, right? And because fast forward merge is just there is something that is known as fast forward merge in case of GitHub, right? In just a second the code will be merged into the master branch. So this is just a dream. Okay, this is just there's no such real thing in the real world like fast merge. Conflicts will occur no matter what, right? So you need to know those troubleshooting tricks on how you can just handle those things. The basic things are required, like a branching or the pushing pull requests or different things. But troubleshooting the things is the very, very, very much required thing with the GitHub, right? And yeah, just another point I just need to add. Not in GitHub, but in the previous question, how you should go for the GSOC. The very thing is, try to, as I said, try to create your custom project that will help you to deploy your own code base, right? This is the very thing, basic thing which I just need to say to the people who are watching this video, right? The thing over here is, if you know the concept now, just implement it, right? So try not to think, yeah, I know the constructor, why should I just just do any n number of things with the constructor? I know the concept, man. That respective constructor is different in production workload, right? So that's how that's why I just suggest you to please create your thinking in the code. If you're a tea lover now, just convert that caffeine into the code. I've seen that code on the LinkedIn, but that's the thing. But that's how you will be really prepared for the GSOC. If you can handle your custom projects now, you can handle anything, right? So that's the thing.
Right. So the next question is, what is the duration of GSOC and what are the major perks of it?
It is a 3-month program actually, which is the various open source organizations are available. And obviously the very first perk which I love is a stipend, right? So that's the thing where the students will get they're coding and they are just getting the money. It will feel like a real thing, right? You are just writing a code for the organization and you're getting money for that. That thing will, just give you a spark inside, right? So they are just developing the skills. This is the primary part. What makes us happy is money. So that's the thing which will, just give 30% or 40% more spark in the students ki bhai paise milenge, right? So that's why just go contribute and do that. But actually this is a 3-month program and which is organized, and if the student is selected, they will get assigned a mentor in that, because obviously you cannot directly go and contribute, right? You cannot directly go and contribute in the big code bases. There is a mentor which will get assigned to you, right? So let's say if I have got selected by any chance in GSOC, 3-month program, I've just already acknowledged. The thing is, a mentor, dedicated mentor will get assigned to you that Ashutosh, you need to do like this, or you need to follow that roadmap or whatever. That respective mentor will guide you each and every bit of the step. Obviously, they will never help you in the code. They will help you how to do it.
Okay.
Right? So that's the thing. That's how the mentor will do that. But there's no such spoon feeding in GSOC, right? So that's the thing. And the first thing, the student will learn n number of skills, right? And the software development skills will exponentially grow because you will work with the real world scenarios. You're not just solving linked list question or stack questions or queue questions, right? So that will do you do those things in a practice, right? Let's take an example. Let's say if you are booking movie tickets, let's say for using Book My Show. There's in case of cinema hall, let's say 20 seats are available. This is the real world use case of an array. 20 seats are available, right? So you need to select which respective seat you want, and that respective index is blocked. So that's the thing which even Book My Show is using array at the backend to book the seats. Obviously, there's a limited array. The seats are not growing like so. This is the thing which is not a variable array, right? So which we call array list in case of Java, or list in case of Python, right? So this is the fixed number of array. 20 seats are available, and the user will pick the respective seat, and that respective index will get blocked, and that's how the things will work. So this is the real world scenario for the Book My Show, which they're using at the backend. On the other hand, it will, if you again talk about the perks, the mindset of that respective student will change completely, right? Because you will think like a real developer or real software engineer who is working on the real world projects to contribute their own skills which they have gained by practicing day and night, right? So these are the biggest perks. Mentor will get assigned. This is a 3-month program. I think these are the only answers.
Right. So I have just one last question, and that is, when and how can a person register for GSOC 2022?
The link is available on the Google, and you can just search that the registrations for GSOC 2022. I think that is open now. And
Okay.
Right. So, but the thing is, there's some eligibility criteria that for 2022 even, you should be 18 years old actually to do that. If you're 17 and a half, sorry. Okay. So that's the thing. 18 years old is the required thing, and you must be a student or a full-time employee, right? So this is some basic criteria. I don't remember each and every criteria for 2022, but these are the basics and the major criteria which you need to remember. And I think the registrations are open. You can just search over the Google for GSOC 2022. I think that will give you the registration link for the Google site only, right?
Right. So I guess that's it for the questions from my side. Thank you, Ashutosh, for such an informative session and for answering all the questions. For those of you in the audience, you can connect with Ashutosh on his LinkedIn. And thank you all so much for joining us. And if you wish to be a part of other sessions and avail the benefits of GSC 2022, then you can check the links in description. Thank you so much, Ashutosh, and thank you all so much for joining us. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.